Happy Mother's Day, everyone. I want to say Happy Mother's Day to my mom. And then I also want to say that I am very blessed to be a mom of three wonderful children. So God has truly blessed me. So today's story is about my mom. My mom needed a favor from her kids. She had asked somebody to help her go to the tanning salon. Now, my mom has psoriasis really bad, which is a skin disorder, and the doctor had actually prescribed for my mom to go to the tanning salon because the sun helps the psoriasis. It helps to keep it more under control, and then of course not quite as irritating. So mom would go to the tanning salon. Now, you'd have to understand my mom was in her late 60s when this actually took place. She needed some help because she was having problems with her back, and so my brothers did not want to help my mother go to the tanning salon, so I was volunteered to help her do that. So I went to the house and I picked my mom up and got my mom loaded up in the car, and then also got her walker loaded up in the car. Go to the tanning salon, pull up to the front of the tanning salon, and my mom says, just go in and tell the girl that we're here for my session. She said, and then when we get, she gets ready for us to come in, she'll come to the window and wave us in. I said, okay. So I go in and I tell her we're there, and then I walk back out to the car, get in the car, and we chit-chat a little bit. And the lady comes to the window and waves us in. And so I get my mom out, I get her walker out. We go into the tanning salon. Now, in the waiting area of the tanning salon, there's a whole bunch of young girls in there. Now, this is like right around prom time and right before summer, so I know all these girls are getting their tan on right there at the beginning of the season. So as we go through the waiting area, here mom is walking with her walker, walking past all these young girls and stuff, and the lady at the booth, at the desk says, you'll be in room so-and-so, which was the actual first room there. And so mom and I walk past the desk, and then as we go past the desk, they had this little towel rack that's got all these towels hanging on there. And so my mom turns around and she says, hey, make sure and grab me a towel. And so I grab her a towel, and then we get a little bit further into the hallway, and she turns around, she said, hey, she says, matter of fact, get me two. So I get her two towels, and so we go into the tanning room. Now, as you know, most tanning booths or rooms are really small. They have just enough room for the tanning bed, and usually a little chair there for you to put your things on. Well, so here we are trying to fit me, my mom, and the walker in this little tanning room. So we finally get us in there, and so I asked my mom, I said, what do you want me to help you do? And she said, well, I want you to help me undress. And I went, I really don't want to help my mom undress. It's just not pleasant undressing your mother. And I said, okay. So she gets herself backed up to the tanning bed, right with her walker. And I said, so what are we doing first? She said, take my shirt off. So I reach over and I grab the bottom of her shirt and pull her shirt up over her head. And when I do, she doesn't have any undergarments on. And I said, Mother, where is your bra? And she said, I'm getting to the tanning bed. I don't need no bra. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And so I didn't say anything else about it. And I said, okay, so let's get your skirt off. I said, how do you want to take your skirt off? And she said, just grab it and pull it over my head too. And so I grab her skirt, and all I'm thinking as I'm grabbing her skirt is, please have some panties on. I just wanted my mom to have some panties on. So I pull the skirt up over her head, and of course, guess what? She doesn't have any panties. And I go, Mother, I said, no panties? And she's going, I'm coming to the tanning bed. I don't need any panties. And so we finally get all those clothes off, and then here she is standing naked in front of the tanning bed, and all she has on is her shoes and her socks. And I said, do you want me to help you take your shoes off? And she goes, oh, no. She says, I don't want my feet touching this nasty floor. She said, leave my shoes on. And so as I'm looking at her, here, of course, she is buck naked in front of the tanning bed, just got her shoes and socks on. She's got these big old huge, gaudy diabetic shoes on, right? Socks coming up to the bottom of her calf. She looks silly. And she starts to laugh. And I said, what are you laughing at? And she said, I need to pass gas. I said, do not pass gas in this room. So she gains her composure. And I said, okay, so how are we going to get you down in this tanning bed? She said, just lower me down into the tanning bed. And she said, and then we'll get my legs swung around. I said, okay. So I stick my hands out like this, and she grabs my arms, and then I gently set her back into the tanning bed. We get her feet swung around to the edge, of course, or to the end. And so she's finally in the tanning bed, right? Looks silly because here she is naked except for socks and shoes. So I said, what do you want me to do now? She said, turn on the bed, just turn the little knob on to 5 and we'll get it started. So I reach up to go to turn the little knob on, and as I do, she goes, no. She said, hold on. She said, I need some googles. And I said, what? And she said, I need some googles for my eyes. She says, my cataract surgery, I don't want the tanning bed to hurt my implants. And I said, do you have some? And she goes, oh no. She said, I don't have any. She said, go to the desk and ask them if you can borrow some. And I'm like, oh, I just really don't want to go to the desk and ask that, but I do. But I have to squeeze out of the tanning room with my mom in there and trying to keep the door closed so nobody's seeing my mom and her nakedness and her business there laying in the tanning bed. So I get out, I go around, and I go to the desk, and I said, hey, can my mom borrow some goggles? And she said, well, we usually don't do that, but she said, I have a pair here you can borrow, and then we'll clean them afterwards. And I said, thank you so much. And so I take those back into my mom, get the goggles on her, and so then I reach up to go to turn the knob on again, and she goes, oh, no. She goes, wait just a minute. She goes, I want you to stand here, and I want you to hold the lid of the tanning bed up so it doesn't touch my skin. And I'm like, how does she do all this when she's here by herself? And I said, okay, whatever. So I'm standing there holding the lid up from my mom's body, and then I finally turned the little knob on, and so we finished the session. Now, so I said, I pull the lid open, right? And I said, so how are we going to get you out of here? And she said, same way you got me in here. She said, just help me, set up, and then we'll go from there. I said, okay. So I'm fixing to start trying to help her move around, and as I do, she goes, no. She says, hold on just a second. She said, I need you to take them towels. And she said, mop this sweat up out from underneath my back. And I said, okay. She said, because if you don't, she said, when I go to pull my back up off that tanning bed, it's going to make some terrible noise. And I said, what? She said, it's going to make a fart noise. She said, and if I hear that, she says, I'm liable to pass gas. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I said, do not do that. So we get all the towels stuffed underneath her, got all the sweat mopped up, got her pulled up around, sitting on the edge of the tanning bed, didn't make any noises, thank goodness. So my mom's sitting on the edge of the tanning bed, and I said, okay, I said, you ready to stand up? And she goes, no, and she starts to laugh. Now again, when we laugh, we're big people. So when we laugh with our whole body. So here my mom is sitting on the edge of this tanning bed, buck naked, shoes and socks on, and just laughing, and just her whole body's just shaking. And I'm really serious. I'm not mad, but I'm pretty serious and stern with her, and I said, do not do that. She's laughing. So I stick my hands out there, my arms out there, and she grabs a hold of me, and I pull her up. And of course, when I pull her up, guess what she does? She passes gas really, really loud. And I'm like, ooh. And she's laughing. Well, you have to understand, this little tanning bedroom has walls that don't go all the way to the ceiling. So what do I know? I know that all those young girls out there in the waiting area are out there listening to me and my mom bicker back and forth, and then of course all the noises that my mom's making. So I get my mom dressed, and all I'm thinking is, we're fixing to have to walk through this waiting area. of all these people who've been listening to me, my mom. So we walk through the waiting area, all these people are laughing and stuff, and we finally get out to the car. And all I'm thinking is, I am not bringing her back to the tandem bed. I said, somebody else can do this chore next time. So now you may be thinking, okay, how are you going to take the story about your mom, going to the tandem bed and point to him, okay? Well, my mom has this terrible disease called psoriasis, and the sun, the S-U-N, helps to control that disease. We as people have a disease, and it's called sin. We have a sin nature. We're born with it, and the only cure for this sin nature is for us to ask Jesus, the Son, S-O-N of God, to take away our sins and for us to go to heaven. And so today, I'm hoping that you've called upon him, and that you also call upon him every day in your everyday life and with this sin nature that we have, and ask him to help you as you go through your daily life. Now, as mothers, what should we be doing? We should also be pointing our children to Jesus. So today, make sure that you're asking him, right, to help you as you go throughout your life, and that you are pointing to him. Have a great day, and I'll see you here next time for another story.